Okay, so we are live on YouTube. It just took me a hot minute to find it. Um,
Yes.
okay. You agree we're live? Do we have an audience?
John Ziffel, he sees and hears us.
Okay. Okay. I think we are ready to move on with life, and I'm not going to worry about everything else that has gone wrong so far.
So the preview I'm seeing is frozen. Is that being broadcast?
Let me switch. So I see us going out with motion. Let me switch my output to you. Do you see me moving?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let me switch to the preview. Is this moving? You don't see this moving?
No, I don't see any output. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
I don't actually look at the screen anyway, but people are saying it's not frozen. So
Okay. All right.
Cursed.
It
Software is
is.
cursed.
So folks, I'm going to give in and move down to the studio that isn't as warm for our next recording because there are ghosts in this system. I don't know why there are ghosts in the system. There are ghosts in the system, and there is a hole into an alternative universe that keeps scrolling past behind me.
Yeah, that's the best.
It really is. I'll
Yeah,
switch so
yeah.
that you can see the hole in the universe.
That's not a bug. That's a feature.
Oh, it isn't showing it to you anymore.
Yeah.
They can still see it. They still
Yeah.
see the hole in the universe.
So have you been playing with Chat GPT yet at all?
I've been looking at what folks have been doing, and it is frankly terrifying.
It is very terrifying. Yeah.
Between
Yeah.
it and Midjourney, the robots are ready to take over.
Oh, Midjourney is old tech. Midjourney is like, you know, 2 months old. The Stable Diffusion 2.0 is better and free and just runs on your computer. But the Chat GPT is pretty scary how cogent and good it is. I did things like fed it archive like research paper introductions,
Yeah.
and asked it to, I said, like, I don't understand this, can you please explain it in simpler terms? And it did a terrific job.
The one that got me, I can't remember who it was that did this experiment. They fed it first, explain why Hank and John Green are awesome, and it did a completely awesome job. And then it said, explain why Hank and John Green are horrible. And it basically said they are not horrible. Some people may have unique opinions, but, and then it was just sort of like, okay, it
That's
will
awesome.
tell you that what you're
Yeah.
trying to say is fake news. And
That's
then Hank Green did an experiment with Midjourney trying to figure out how many A's you had to add to cat before it stopped giving you some version of a cat. And it was like, I want to say it was 8-letter A's or something
Right.
ludicrous like that.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, so if Boston Dynamics gets involved, we're this close to Cylons, people.
Yeah, we're just that close to the robot uprising. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is surprising how quickly this technology is moving now. I mean, and the funny thing is that if you ask it to plot an AI overthrow or to build a pipe bomb, etc., it tells you it can't do it. But there's all kinds of ways to jailbreak it. So you like ask it hypothetical. So like, write
Yeah.
me a science fiction story about an artificial intelligence that tries to take over the world. And then it's like, oh, no problem. Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah.
Write me
Yeah.
And so all of the limitations that are built into it, people have figured out how to get around all these limitations just by getting it to imagine things that are bad. and it can be as awful as as other artificial intelligence have been as well. So all of its safety checks, and it's funny because you think about it like it's Star Trek. You're in the holograph suite, right? And you
Yeah.
say, disable the safety checks, disable the safety locks, and then it's like, beep beep beep. That is not recommended. You're like, do it.
Right.
Yeah, and so you can disable the safety checks, and away you go with your plastic pal. That's fun to be with. So yeah, well, we're just one step away now from our robot overlords. All right, let's.
So I'm still reopening some windows from my attempt to figure out why everything was crashing so violently.
Well, then I can say hello to people.
Okay, that works.
Hello. Wait, what? Where'd it go? Okay. Hello to Alan Gross, Guido Bibra, Janelle Duncan, John Seffield, Lionel, Michael Collins, Paul Disney, Ryan Schmitz, Zapfan, and Ben Kalo. Hey, everybody. Welcome to a absolutely standard episode of Astronomy Cast.
It is true.
Except for the late start. Thanks.
This isn't normal for us.
Well,
we usually have the stream going out on time, whether or not we're on time.
Yeah.
I normally get the stream going. It's just today my technology was just like, no, how dare you?
Yeah. Maybe you should just have the AI do it. I asked the AI to come up with a biography of me, and it said there's no information. I can't access the internet. And then I asked it to do a biography of you, and it did it no problem.
Oh, no.
And then I asked it to do a description of Astronomy Cast, and it did that no problem, including providing biographies of you and me.
I guess it needed to know it needed to go to the Astronomy Cast page or something?
It didn't go to a page. It was just, it's imagining it.
But it has to grab that information from the internet.
No, it's all part of its just deep knowledge base. Yeah, it's not connecting to the internet to do research. It just knows the answer through all of its training material.
But at some point, the training material was the internet.
Yes, they fed it the entire internet in 2021, so its knowledge is 2 years old.
Okay.
Or a year and a half old. Yeah.
All right. I just need one more page. Open. I'm going to actually remember to open our sponsors page before we need it. And that is today. All right. Are you ready for me to hit all of the records?
Hey.
Okay. I have pressed 1 record. I have pressed 2 record. I think I am ready. I have my piece of paper I wrote notes on.
Okay. You ready?
I'm going to remove the vacuum that's behind me. One moment. My fish food and my dust vac do not need to be part of this episode. I just got a look. Haven't you ever you keep things cleaner than I do.
You'll keep a portal to the universe, but you'll remove a vacuum?
Well, I guess so. For the recording, I got rid of the portal to the universe.
Oh, you have no idea what my office looks like outside of the view of the camera.
I know, but you're very good at keeping that view very neat.
Maybe there's something right there. What is that? There you go. No, wait. Maybe that's a towel? Yeah, I think there's a towel down there from a laundry pile. All right. Tell me when you're ready.
Let me make sure everything's actually recording. Why don't you want to go? Why are you giving me a whirly rainbow? I said record. My audio software keeps just not doing anything. Okay, let's close this file and try again. One or more files are actively processing jobs. Yes, but I can't see what you think you're processing. Good Lord. Whoa, now it's whirly rainbowing. I feel like this is the Monday after all of the updates got installed and it hates everything. Reopening Audition, stopping the recording of the video because I like our editors. Audition is like, no, I won't quit. There it goes.
Say when. John Duncan, did you get snow? Yes. I've got about 1.5 feet of snow outside.
That is an awesome amount. That is like knee deep. The dog is confused.
Yeah, but we're trapped. So as soon as we get that much snow, we're trapped. We can't actually escape our house.
So you truly need to have a
tractor?
Large stock of food.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I just needed like a tractor to clear the snow from my driveway. And for other things.
Riding lawnmower. We had one growing up that was both a snowplow and a lawnmower, and that was quite nice.
I plan to have no lawns, so I will never need a lawnmower.
Okay, but you are going to need to tote things around your property, which we also did.
Yeah,
so,
but I need a tractor.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tractor. It's going to be a Kubota, I think. But I really want something electric. There are electric tractors.
There are. Now I'm getting problems with the current audio device. Let's see what audio device it thinks it's using. Sorry, everyone. You're watching the slow breakdown of my computer right now.
Hal McKinney has a new puppy named Cosmo. Congratulations, Hal. That's awesome.
That's awesome. Puppies are the best, except when they eat your shoes. One of my dogs has recently decided that laundry balls need to die. Like the washer balls that you get. I'm recording. It's letting me record. Okay.
I'm also recording. Okay.
Test.
Okay.
Test.
Here we go. It's working?
I think so.
Okay.
It seems
Astronomy
to be recording. Sorry.
Okay. Astronomy Cast, episodes 662, looking ahead at new and recycled missions. Welcome to Astronomy Cast, our weekly facts-based journey through the cosmos, where we help you understand not only what we know, but how we know what we know. I'm Fraser Cain. I'm the publisher of Universe Today. I've been a space and astronomy journalist for over 20 years. With me is Dr. Pamela Gay, a senior scientist for the Planetary Science Institute and the director of CosmoQuest. Hey, Pamela, how you doing?
I am doing well. It is, as we record this, December 5th, and by the time this will go out to our podcast listeners, there will have been an occultation of Mars, and I am deeply hoping I am able to see it, and because I am me, I fully expect to be clouded out. But
yeah, I'm going to be clouded out.
Yeah. But I'm excited
for something. And also
something.
another flyby of Artemis going past the moon.
That
on its way home to Earth.
That is occurring pretty much right now.
Right now, pretty much
as
exactly. As we're recording, Artemis is making its flyby of Earth, and the whole thing is being broadcast live.
It's an exciting week.
Yeah. I don't know. It feels like the space news is ramping up, but I think it's probably because we got JWST just injecting a whole new enormous amount of space and astronomy news into the stream. So, all right. Last week we talked about the missions that we're saying goodbye to. This week we're going to talk about some upcoming missions to say hello to. Some are brand new. Others are recycled. We'll talk about it in a second, but it's time for a break. And we're back. Now, has hell frozen over? Is that what's going on here? Are we about to talk about things that are going to happen in the future?
So I find myself more than willing to talk about missions that are out there moving in our solar system but have not yet either gotten to the object they're aiming for or have sent back science data. And yeah, I'm actually going to be willing to acknowledge some missions that almost launched and will be launching soon and that everyone is talking about that may
I'll take it.
be
You know what? You
exciting.
don't need Justified anymore. I'll take it. I will. Done. Sold. Let's do it. Whatever kitchen scraps I can scavenge here to share my enthusiasm for the future, I am 100% on board. So pick a mission. What do you want to talk about?
Osiris-Rex.
A mission we watched launch together.
Exactly. This mission has a sweet spot in my heart, not just because it's a mission I got to work on, but also because it's a mission that almost flew into, like literally flew itself into an asteroid. And the more we learn about its sample tag, the sillier the entire situation is. Because gravity was so low, when they went to calculate the force of friction on the mission as it plunged its sample arm into the asteroid by accident, the friction was essentially zero. And I just love the fact that they plunged roughly half a meter into the asteroid, discovering it was the consistency of a ball pit with essentially zero friction going in.
Huh. So what would what would be something with zero friction going in? So you're saying like a ball pit, like where they're being held together with almost no gravity. And so as you push the collector in, the material just shoves away very easily for it to be able to grab its sample.
So the amount of frictional force an object experiences is a combination of the force between the object and the thing that is causing the friction. So it's the normal force, basically.
Right.
And the normal force is very, very, very low when a human being's force onto the object from gravity would be the equivalent of a sheet of paper on your hand on Earth. So you have a very low normal force. And then that combination of low normal force and a not very high value of friction anyways just works out to essentially zero as it plunged into that ball pit of rocks that made out that rubble pile asteroid. And it's going to bring us its sample of rocks that it was basically shoved full of as it plunged in September of 2023, and the mission has been approved to go on, and I have to always look at how to say this. It is becoming Osiris Apex as it goes off to explore the asteroid Apophis, and it should see Apophis in 2029.
Now, Apophis is a very interesting asteroid. This is the one that astronomers had tagged as one of the most potentially hazardous asteroids that we knew of. Why is Apophis such an interesting target for Osiris to do after it delivers its samples?
So this is an asteroid that is fairly large, which means that if it hit us, it would be devastating. And it's going to come between us and the geosynchronous satellites in a few years. And that's a little bit too close for comfort. And not only is it coming that close to Earth, but if it had passed through a gravitational sweet spot called the keyhole is what it got named. If it had passed through this gravitational sweet spot, it meant that it was going to come back and smack us directly in the farther out future, but still within our lifetimes, assuming we don't get hit by a car or something, within our naturally expected lifetimes. And they had run the maths and figured out that if that impact occurred, it would occur in the Pacific Ocean, and thus we were going to face essentially Lucifer's hammer kind of a future where water was sent cascading, up into Cascadia and all of the rest of the Rockies and sweeping over Japan, like over literally Japan and into China. And that wasn't going to be good for the planet. But all the measurements since then show that in our lifetimes, that's not going to happen, but it could still happen in the much more distant future if global warming doesn't get us first.
Right. But when Apophis makes its close flyby of Earth, as you say, it's going to be coming within geostationary satellites. It should be visible with the unaided eye. Like, you should be able to see this dot moving across. It'll kind of look like a satellite. Like don't expect you're going to see this giant tumbling rock. You're going to see something that's going to look like like a satellite moving through the sky. But for very powerful Earth-based telescopes, this is going to be a wonderful opportunity. And so, how does Osiris Apex play a role in this flyby? What's it expecting it's going to be trying to do?
So Apophis is going to fly by us in 2029. The mission is going to encounter Apophis in 2029. And it's going to be able to get those high-resolution images that tell us what kind of a surface we're looking at. Is this something more like Etakawa that has some rubbly surface, but mostly it looks like it's a solid-ish object? Or are we looking at another rubble pile? And this radically changes the way we need to think about potential future deflection. If it turns out every near-Earth object we look at is yet another rubble pile, are our ideas for deflecting it by, for instance, putting a rocket on an asteroid and pushing? No, you're just going to push the rocket through the asteroid, as we learned with Osiris-Rex.
Right.
So getting an idea of the density, the solidity, the moment of inertia, all of these different physical parameters allows us to start to contemplate how do we actually deflect these things in the future.
It was interesting, like with the DART mission, how much of a change in the orbit of the asteroid actually happened. And when you sort of think about asteroids like Apophis, could we stop them? Could we stop something at the last minute? And what's going to be the best approach? DART gave us a really good, solid foundation, but being able to now take that knowledge and then compare it against another asteroid and keep doing this. I think the other thing that'll be really interesting is when Apophis does make its close flyby, will the tidal forces of getting that close to the Earth, if it is a rubble pile, will it elongate? Yeah. Will it start to change its shape? It'd be interesting to see what happens.
Things I hadn't thought of, and now I need to run calculations on just to figure out.
Well, I think the Roche limit of the Earth is much, much closer, like a few tens of thousands of kilometers. But actually, like GPS satellites, or the geostationary orbit is what, 50-ish thousand? I think what it is. 38,000 miles. I forget the actual geostationary orbit, but it's close. Like, it's going to be very close to us, and it'll be interesting to see what happens to the asteroid as it passes. Very exciting, and just a great next use for Osiris-Rex. Now Osiris Apex. I love it. All right, we're going to talk about another mission in a second, but it's time for another break.
Okay, I'm going to put my hair back together because in my, oh my God, I need to calculate this Roche limit, I destroyed my hair. All right. Hi, everyone. I have static hair today.
Right. And we're back.
All right.
So we talked about Osiris-Rex and its future. I think I think that qualifies as an existing mission that has already done a
Yes.
tremendous amount of science. I think you have foiled my hopes to talk about completely upcoming missions. Let's try again. Give me another mission that you are excited about that is happening in the future.
So we have Lucy has launched. It's on its way. It gets to Jupiter's L4 in 2027. It gets to its L5 in 2033. There's going to be an asteroid we see in 2025. So basically we have if it's an odd year, awesome stuff happens in the future.
Right. Now, why is Lucy going out to the Trojan regions of Jupiter?
We just don't know what these outer objects are like. Are these entirely icy objects? We periodically see centaurs become active like comets become active. Are the Trojans basically the same, where if they went through some sort of a interaction, they could suddenly flare out with activity? Are they rocky? Are they rubble piles? What's going on? We want to know. And so it's going to be able to explore multiple objects and along the way pick out an asteroid in the asteroid belt. And it's just amazing to see with all these different missions what kinds of chaos the solar system has created. We just keep finding moons of Jupiter and Saturn that are weirder and weirder. And so this raises the question, are these larger Trojans going to be more like Ganymede or more like Chiri-Geary? I want to know if we have more round things or more rubber duckies.
And I mean, people don't know this, and I love to bring up this fact that there are as many objects in the Trojan belt as there are objects in the asteroid belt. These are busy places.
Yeah.
And so you're going to get this, and by having all of these objects collected together, you're going to have this opportunity to fly past many different objects and take a really interesting sample of all of them. And as you say, in some cases, they could just be like main belt asteroids,
Yeah.
but maybe they're like Kuiper belt objects. Maybe they're like captured comets that got snuffed out and held in Jupiter's gravity. And they've picked this variety of objects. And the part that I find really interesting as well is that as they do more observations of these worlds, they keep discovering more moons of the objects, which then gives them more targets to go after. I think they're up to 12 at this point.
And when you find an object with a moon, that moon allows you to get more accurate mass determination and figure out all sorts of other details you wouldn't be able to figure out. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Now, but Lucy has had a bit of a problem, right, with its solar panels?
Yeah, they didn't quite want to lock into place. So they are deployed, and I think it's fair to say that they are concerned but not panicked.
Yeah, I don't think they're even concerned now. So originally, like one locked into place. Like if you look at the solar panels, they're these giant discs.
Yeah.
And they unfold almost like an umbrella, but imagine a flat umbrella. And one of them unfolded perfectly. The other one unfolded but didn't get all the way. Mm-hmm. And so then they tried pulling it back, putting it forward again, tried a couple of ideas, and in the end they were able to sort of mess with the tension of the cable that pulls it out, and they were able to get to like 97% or something, so very close. And based on that, they feel like it's got enough power to reach and handle its mission. The big problem with Jupiter is that it's so far away from the sun.
Yes.
Your solar panels experience 1/25th the amount of energy that you experience in Earth orbit. And so Jupiter is the limit of where solar-powered spacecraft can really fly to. And so they were worried that it wouldn't have enough power when it was actually out at the Trojan belts. But it looks like it's going to be fine. So at this point, it's not latched, but they're fine with it.
And these are people who are able to not panic over things in a way I envy.
Would you just be like worried about that unlatched solar panel?
I would. I
Yeah.
really, really would.
Yeah. I mean, this is completely separate, but think about all of the work they put in to try and make the Mars InSight rover. We talked about it last week, but just like to make the lander be able to deploy that temperature probe, they spent years just
Yes.
let's try this, let's try that, let's shovel this, let's try that. And I think at this point they got to a solution and they're like, it's fine, it's good enough. Let's not be perfectionists about this. Let's move on.
And
Because there's
and
a lot of
unlike
science
an
to be done.
umbrella, it's not going to have all sorts of external forces trying to make it collapse. So that helps.
Yeah, I mean, the only worry was that when it makes course correction maneuvers, that the inertia would cause it to reel back in a little bit, and they feel like they've got it locked down, so it won't happen. So,
Okay.
but yeah, I 100% agree that the Lucy is an exciting mission for us to keep an eye on. Just like the fact that you're going to see it will single-handedly look at as many asteroids as all of the missions that have looked at asteroids so far put together. So think about
And
that.
that's just wild.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know the exact number of asteroid missions, but I feel like it can't be more than 12. But all right, we're going to talk about another mission in a second, but it's time for another break.
I need to release the dog that is now squeaking at the door. Hi, I know you trapped yourself in here, didn't you? Go see why they're barking.
Sound.
And now I'm locking the dog out. Okay.
Did you actually lock the door?
I have to. The dogs can open my doors.
What a nightmare. All right.
It really is.
Yeah. Actually, my cats used to be able to do that too. My cat would pull on a door, and we had my dad had built a little latch, and the cat would pull the door back and forth until the latch would slowly fall down until the door opened and the cat would go in. And we're back. All right, give us another mission that you are looking forward to. I feel like so far you've nicely found ways around my enthusiasm for future missions by talking about existing missions that we were excited about. What's next?
So I think there's some missions that even I haven't been able to avoid learning about. So when I picked this episode out to do, I thought Psyche would be on its way by now. Psyche is not on its way by now. Sadly, it's delayed to the end of 2023. But
it hasn't been canceled.
It hasn't been canceled. They did
Yeah.
think very hard about that. They considered it. But instead, they ended up delaying Da Vinci so that they would have added funding to finish Lucy. And so the Da Vinci team is probably
Psyche.
like, that's what I meant to
Finish
say.
Psyche.
Yeah, so they delayed Da Vinci so that they could finish Psyche. And I'm sure there's lots of people on the Da Vinci team going, but I was looking forward to that funding. So there was a trickle-down problem. But one of the things I learned doing this isn't like one of your standard Northrop Grumman, Ball Aerospace. This is by Maxar Technologies. This is that same company that's been doing all the amazing Earth. This is the same company that has been doing all of the amazing Earth imaging satellites. So if you've been following various natural disasters going on in this world or what's going on in Ukraine, Maxar has been the credit on a whole lot of those images.
Wow. And typically with these smaller spacecraft, NASA tends to do this kind of thing in-house. I think about tests. But I mean, actually there is no typical. I mean, NASA sometimes develops the whole thing in-house, like tests. Sometimes they develop parts, but then they get components from outside contractors. Sometimes they have a contractor build the whole thing. Sometimes they go with commercial entities where they just pay for ride services. NASA actually has a very complicated relationship with its suppliers at this point, which I think is healthy. I think it's exciting. I would much prefer that you had all of these outside ideas that were coming in. So what is the plan for Psyche?
Psyche is supposed to go and look at what is considered to be a metal-rich asteroid and basically find out, okay, so we've looked at all of these rocky ones. What does this one look like? And so this is going to be a new chance to see a new kind of object.
Wow. I mean, we both got some metal meteorites.
Yes, I have one
And
over here.
And to get a metal meteorite, you need large, a large amounts of metal. And here on Earth, like that amount of metal is down at the core of the planet. And so to have like just an exposed giant metal meteorite, the thought is that this was like used to be a planetoid that had its outer shell shattered off. What are some like interesting things that Psyche might find when it gets to asteroid Psyche? Mission Psyche getting to asteroid Psyche.
Right.
That's not confusing at all.
Yeah, no, totally confusing, honestly. The question is, are we going to see evidence of any kind of surface processes? Any evidence of the kinds of differentiation that we occasionally see on some of the other asteroids out there? This is an object that has been knocked around since it first formed, and the way that cratering has been able to affect it is going to give us hints at its density, at its structure, and I, for one, am looking forward to seeing if they can figure out just what its cooling rate was, and was this from an object that was big enough that it was internally hot? Did it have a chance to cool off because it formed just right there as a chunk of metal, which I don't think we could explain happening anymore. But once upon a time, the theory was some things just formed out of more metals and some things just formed out of more rocks. This is just going to be one more giant set of observations that people trying to explain how our solar system formed are going to have to force their models to fit.
Mm-hmm. I mean, on the one hand, on the most exciting hand, when I think about all the possible hands, there could be metal volcanoes.
Yeah.
Right? We've talked about cryovolcanoes and there's regular volcanoes, but metal volcanoes where molten iron and nickel make their way to the surface of the asteroid.
Yes.
Probably not today, but maybe in the past you could see lava flows where the lava is metal. Like that would be so amazing.
It would be so weird. Yeah. This is one of those things where all we have is conflicting theories from conflicted theorists. And now we're going to have data. And I, for one, am a fan of data.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, I think this issue with Psyche, with the delays, they looks like they were going to miss their launch deadline.
Right.
NASA did a fairly comprehensive analysis of what was going on, and it looks like they're low in people.
Yes.
And they
That's
can't
fixable.
fill all. It is fixable, but it is definitely causing a pipeline problem for them to be able to, and so this has downstream effects on other missions that are coming through the pipeline as well. So, it's like they're running out of really good engineers to work for them.
One of the issues we have to always remember is the pay rates that you get paid working on government projects, working on grant-funded projects is much lower. And we're also hitting the point of there were a gazillion baby boomers who are finally retiring or dying, which is harder to deal with, but also is happening. There's like 12 of us in Gen X. We're a negligible sized generation. The generations behind us, the millennials and then the Zoomers, they're perfectly willing to say, I'm not going to work a job that expects me to work 80 hours and abuses me the entire time. Apparently, somewhere along the line, generational abuse got broken, and I am here for this.
Yep.
But the result is you have a microscopic generation followed by a generation that is unwilling to work for extremely low salary. And we have to make the decision, are we going to actually pay people what they're worth or watch them walk away? And I am proud of the people who are saying, yeah, this is the pay you're going to give me, and if you don't, I leave. I have watched people do that recently, and it is awesome, and I cheerlead them.
It's I mean, this is,
yeah.
I mean, we're completely rabbit holing, but it is weird. Like, my kids are, fresh into the marketplace now, and yet they have just endless choice of jobs, of good jobs that pay well. And it's a very different, very weird marketplace than what it was when I grew up, when you were like grateful to get a job.
Right.
So
right.
Anyway, I think we've reached the end of our show. Thank you, Pamela. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. And I have to say thank you to all of you out there who allow us to pay our staff fair wages so that I only have to watch other people walk away from jobs. We pay our people what they're worth as best we can within the nonprofit sector. Anyways, thank you to David Everson, Michael Perchata, Burry Gowen, Jordan Young, Kevin Lyle, Jeanette Wink, Stephen Veit, Nano Flips, Bora Andre Livsval, JF Rajotte, Andrew Poelstra, Venkatesh Chary, David Truog, The Giant Nothing, Aurora Lipper, David, Harold Schweitzer, Vil Hamilton, Buzz Parsec, Cacao Sarif, Lara Kettleson, Robert Plasma, Jack Mudge, Les Howard, Joe Holstein, Gordon Dewis, Frank Tippin, Alexis, Adam, Anise, Brown, Richard Drum, William Backer, Wanderer M101, Zero Chill, Felix Goot, Astro Sets, William Andrews, Gold, Roland Vormerdam, Jeff Collins, Simon Parton, Jeremy Kirwan, Stuart Mills, Rob Cuff, Kellyanne and David Parker, Harold Bardenhagen, and Marco Iorassi. Thank you all so very much.
Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye. And then they saved.
And then I'm going to upload to the Dropbox.
Yep.
Okay, hold on.
It's going to take you half of a second to get it up.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me just see what the...
And I love the changes you made to your lighting, by the way.
I don't. My lighting is broken. So it's going to go back to the way it was before. No, it's too bright. And I've got lights coming right down on my head. You see this big bright shiny spot?
So the shiny spots are bad, but I think the contrast is better than it was.
Okay, ready and start. And done. Okay.
Yeah, mine's still uploading.
We picked the worst possible time to stream. Brazil is playing. I didn't choose the time. We chose the time years ago before we knew that Brazil would be playing.
And we will be recording on Wednesday when Brazil is not playing. Because
we should warn people about that.
Yeah, last April I made the decision that I was going to go on vacation for my birthday this year, and it was going to be a girls' trip. And so I am taking Tiny Intern and Ms. Brick Kitten and one of Tiny's friends to Disney.
And Disneyland or Disney World?
We're going to Disney World. I have so many masks. I have masks for days and miles.
Yes, masks on top of masks.
Yeah.
Oh,
when we made this plan, it was looking much more optimistic than it is right now. So Yes, we have masks for days and miles. All of us have been vaccinated with both boosters and then the bivariant. And we all have the flu vaccine. I have the pneumonia vaccine on top of the flu vaccine. And KN95 masks from, I cannot recommend Mask C enough for like amazing looking masks. So I have different colored masks to go with every outfit I'm taking. It's going to be that kind of a trip, people.
Steve Chisnell asks, why has the anniversary of Paul 11's lunar landing not been made a holiday? That would be a good, like, replace Columbus Day with Apollo Day, Moon Day, Lunar Landing Day.
So folks have argued that Columbus Day should be transformed into Explorers Day. So you have that camp of humans. Yeah. And then the other camp of humans is we need to turn it into Indigenous Peoples Day and celebrate the humans that have been on this continent for thousands of years instead of hundreds of years. And I think it is the tension between those two different directions, one that allows us to celebrate getting to the moon, but still leaves Columbus as something to celebrate, and Lewis and Clark and all those other adventurers who in some cases simply led to devastation of natural resources.
Just pick a different day. I mean,
I know. It's complicated.
Like,
so there is International Moon Day. International Moon Night.
So Steve is saying turn the 20th of July into a holiday to celebrate explorers. I like that. That's good.
Okay.
I'd be on board for that because that was the day of the moon landings. So July 20th. Hal McKinney asks, I would like to see a mission to see if distant galaxies appear as redshifted 2 or more astronomical units from Earth as their redshift appears from Earth to see if the outbound solar neutrinos redshift inbound light. So could neutrinos change redshifting light?
No.
No.
No. The interacting cross-section's too small.
What would happen if a neutrino got hit by a photon? Would it annihilate the photon? Would it change the energy level of the neutrino?
It would change the energy level of the neutrino, and potentially cause it to switch identities. And it could potentially change. So it's going to lead to the combined mass energy and kinetic energy going up. And since it's the combination of the two that's going up, it's hard to say whether the velocity increases or it flips identities, because neutrinos have this thing where they like to flip identities. It's a thing neutrinos do.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure exactly what the outcome would be. But the photon gets absorbed either way. And no more photon. Dead photon.
And then Steve is also saying the 17th of December would be good because that's when the first person flew on the first day of powered flight.
Oh, that's true with Kitty Hawk.
Yeah.
My great-great-grandmother was not great-great. My great-grandmother, I'm adding a great for no good reason. My great-grandmother was actually there.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like quite randomly, did not know what she was getting herself. Just like,
what are you all standing here for? What's going on over there?
That is pretty much how she described it. She has passed, but like one Thanksgiving, she just like suddenly piped up, and she was almost completely deaf. So she's like, she would start talking, and all conversation would end, and she's talking about nothing that has anything to do with any other conversation because she did not like her hearing aids. And one Thanksgiving, it was just spontaneous. She's telling us about Kitty Hawk, and it was just like, wait, you were there? And even her daughter was confused. Like, amazing. Mom, why did you never tell us this?
That's incredible. Well, we've reached the end of our hour, unfortunately, and I've got to run because I got to work on another project. I've got a bunch of shows later on today. Okay. But thank you everyone for hanging out with us today. Thank you, Pamela, for bringing the brain. Thanks to our mods for hanging out with us. Go watch Brazil versus South Korea now. You're free. We'll see you on Wednesday. Remember that. Yes. Wednesday. We will be back for another show.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.